Welcome back to the channel, Coins History US. Stop scrolling right now because the nickel in your pocket could be worth thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars. Today, we're diving into the top 5 ultra super rare Jefferson nickel coins that collectors are desperately hunting for. Some of these nickels were made by mistake, some survived history by pure luck, and one of them might even be sitting unnoticed in your old coin jar. From wartime silver nickels to shocking mint errors that changed lives overnight, this list will blow your mind. Watch till the end because the last Jefferson nickel could be the rarest and most valuable of them all.
Have you ever held a coin in your hand and wondered what secrets it carries, the whispers of history, the silent journey through time from the hands of ordinary Americans to the vaults of collectors across the world? Today we dive deep into one of the most fascinating chapters of American coinage, the 1956 Jefferson nickel. A coin that might look simple to the untrained eye, but hides within it a story of artistry, ambition, and the golden era of post-war America. This is not just a nickel. This is a symbol of a nation's pride, a reflection of its economy, its culture, and its craftsmanship. Stay with me as we journey back to 1956, a year when America was booming, when innovation was reshaping every aspect of life, and when the United States Mint was producing one of the most remarkable coins of the Jefferson series. Welcome to the world of the 1956 Jefferson nickel. The 1956 Jefferson nickel stands as a remarkable testament to the United States' post-war prosperity and stability. Minted during a period of optimism, industrial expansion, and cultural transformation, the coin represents more than mere currency. It is a symbol of continuity in design and tradition stretching back to 1938, when the Jefferson nickel was first introduced. Replacing the long-running Buffalo nickel designed by Felix Schlag, the Jefferson nickel became an instant classic, embodying the spirit of the third president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, and showcasing his home Monticello on the reverse. By 1956, this design had already cemented itself as one of America's most recognizable coins, and yet the story behind this specific year is one of quiet significance and technical achievement. In 1956, America was thriving. The Eisenhower administration was leading a country filled with confidence. The interstate highway system was just beginning to take shape. Television was transforming the way people saw the world, and the U.S. Mint continued its work to meet the demands of a growing population. Coinage production was steady but refined, and the 1956 Jefferson nickel was no exception. It was struck only at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and both mints maintained exceptional quality control for the era, though proof coins were minted in Philadelphia to satisfy the growing interest of collectors. At the Philadelphia Mint, more than 35 million nickels were struck without a mint mark. Since Philadelphia coins traditionally carried none, the Denver Mint produced roughly 67 million. Coins marked by a small D on the reverse to the right of Monticello. But despite the large mintage, not all 1956 nickels are created. Equal slight variations in strike quality, luster, and die wear have created a range of conditions that influence their desirability among collectors, while circulated examples remain common. Finding well-struck coins with sharp details, especially on Jefferson's hair and Monticello's steps, can be a challenge, and it is these high-quality strikes that truly excite numismatists. Proof coins of 1956 deserve special attention. These proofs were struck at the Philadelphia Mint with meticulous care, using polished dies and specially prepared planchets. Approximately 69,000 proof sets were produced that year, making them highly collectible today. Each proof coin was hand-inspected and packed into a 5-coin set featuring the Lincoln cent, Jefferson nickel, Roosevelt dime, Washington quarter, and Franklin half-dollar. The 1956 proof Jefferson nickel is known for its deep mirror surfaces and remarkable detail, with cameo contrasts highly prized by collectors in today's market. The design of the Jefferson nickel had remained unchanged since 1938, but by the mid-1950s, subtle improvements in die, technology, and minting techniques had begun to enhance the overall appearance of the coin. Felix Schlag's original vision of Jefferson facing left had endured for nearly 2 decades. His depiction of Monticello on the reverse continued to stand. As a powerful architectural emblem of early American ideals, the simplicity of the design belied the complexity of its creation and the technical mastery required to strike a coin with both aesthetic beauty and functional durability. The year 1956 was also significant in terms of economic history. The nickel's purchasing power was greater than it is today. With 5 cents, you could buy a loaf of bread or a cold soda. Yet inflation and industrial progress were already reshaping the value of money. The nickel's composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel remained unchanged since its inception in 1866, symbolizing durability and continuity in a rapidly modernizing world. Each coin struck that year circulated through the hands of Americans who were part of a changing society, from factory workers to school children to soldiers returning home and building new lives. The 1956 Jefferson nickel thus became a witness to the optimism and vitality of mid-century America when, examining the details of the 1956 issue, collectors pay particular attention to the sharpness of Monticello's steps. On the reverse, fully struck steps, known as full steps, are an indicator of superior die condition and precise striking. Such examples are relatively scarce and command significant premiums in the collector market. Coins displaying 5 or 6 complete steps are particularly valued by specialists and grading companies like PCGS and NGC. Recognize these details with special designations. The search for the elusive full steps. 1956, Jefferson nickel continues to be a passion for advanced collectors. Worldwide errors and varieties from 1956 add even more intrigue, though not as numerous as in some other years. A few noteworthy varieties exist, including repunched mint marks and minor die clashes. These anomalies provide unique insight into the minting process of the time and add a sense of individuality to each surviving coin. Even a small misalignment or doubled feature can turn a common nickel into a fascinating study of minting history and a highly desirable collectible. By the late 1950s, the United States Mint was already planning for modernization. The Jefferson nickel would continue unchanged until 1966, when modifications to the design and relief were introduced, but the 1956 issue remains emblematic of the post-war golden age. It was a coin that circulated widely yet quietly, a part of everyday life that bridged the gap between the wartime economy and the technological boom of the 1960s. Collectors today often view it as a piece of Americana, a symbol of stability and craftsmanship from an era that defined a generation. The market value of 1956. Jefferson nickels varies depending on condition, rarity, and eye appeal. Circulated examples are generally worth only face value or slightly more, but uncirculated specimens, especially those with strong luster and full steps, can command impressive prices. Proof versions with deep cameo contrast are highly sought after and can reach into the hundreds of dollars for pristine certified examples. What makes the 1956 nickel truly special, however, is not its monetary worth but its story. It represents a chapter of American history preserved in metal, a time capsule of mid-century life minted in copper and nickel. To truly appreciate the 1956 Jefferson nickel, one must see beyond its 5-cent denomination and recognize it as a reflection of national identity, from the vision of Felix Schlag's design to the precision of the mint's machinery. Each coin is a work of art, crafted for the people and carried through decades of change. Perhaps a coin in your pocket today once passed through the hands of someone living in 1956, a factory worker, a child saving for their first toy, or a veteran rebuilding their life. Every mark and scratch tells a story. Every shine under the light reminds us that coins are not just currency, but carriers of history. So as we explore the 1956 Jefferson nickel, we see more than metal. We see America itself, resilient, proud, innovative, and timeless. A 5-cent piece that has become a bridge across generations, a relic of craftsmanship that continues to captivate collectors, historians, and dreamers alike from its creation. In the bustling halls of the Philadelphia and Denver mints to its survival in collections around the world, the 1956 Jefferson nickel remains one of the quiet legends of United States coinage, a symbol of a nation that was and still is in constant pursuit of perfection. Imagine holding in your hand a piece of American history struck at the dawn of a decade that would soon plunge the world into war, a coin that tells the story of a nation recovering from the Great Depression, rebuilding its strength, and preparing to lead the world through its most defining moment today. We are diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1940 Jefferson nickel, a small 5-cent coin that carries a massive historical legacy from its design and minting process to its hidden errors, mint marks, and collector value. This is the story of how the Jefferson nickel became not just a symbol of American progress, but a witness to history itself. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you will see why a simple 1940 nickel could be worth more than you ever imagined, and why coin collectors all over the world still hunt for this remarkable piece of numismatic treasure. The story of the 1940 Jefferson nickel begins in a time when the United States was slowly climbing. Out of the shadows of the Great Depression, the nation had seen its people rise from unemployment and hardship into a renewed spirit of innovation and progress. Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal programs had re-energized the economy, and the country was finally seeing hope in its industries, agriculture, and technology as the new decade dawned. The U.S. Mint continued to reflect the country's identity and achievements through its coinage, and one of the greatest examples of that expression was the Jefferson nickel, introduced in 1938 to replace the Buffalo nickel. The Jefferson nickel was designed to honor one of America's founding fathers and the author of the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson. The design, created by Felix Schlag, won a national competition held by the U.S. Mint. Schlag's artistic approach portrayed Jefferson in a left-facing profile on the obverse or front of the coin, with his home Monticello depicted on the reverse. This was not only a tribute to Jefferson as a leader, but also a symbol of his architectural genius and his love for classical design. By 1940, the Jefferson nickel had already been in production for 2 years and had gained widespread acceptance among the American public. The U.S. Mint produced the 1940 nickel at 3 major facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, each mint leaving its mark on the coin with unique variations that continue to fascinate collectors. Today, the Philadelphia Mint coins bore no mint mark, while Denver coins carried a small D and San Francisco coins featured the S mark. These small details are crucial in identifying the origin of each coin and determining its rarity. The production of the 1940 Jefferson nickel came at a time when the world was already on edge. In Europe, World War II had begun, and though the United States had not yet entered the conflict, its economy and industrial sectors were already gearing up for potential involvement. This indirectly affected the coinage process as the U.S. Mint began preparing for possible material shortages that would later lead to the famous wartime nickels from 1942 to 1945, made of silver, manganese, and copper. The 1940 nickel, however, was still composed of the pre-war metal combination 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it a silvery appearance and a solid weight of 5 grams in terms of design details. The obverse of the 1940 Jefferson nickel presents Jefferson's bust with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust and Liberty," along with the year 1940. Schlag's initial design for the coin had originally included more artistic script and stylized lettering, but the Mint requested changes to make the coin more legible and traditional. The reverse side shows a front view of Monticello, Jefferson's home in Virginia, with the inscriptions "E pluribus unum, United States of America," and 5 cents. Monticello appears elegant and classical, with a clean architectural structure that has since become one of the most recognized coin designs in U.S. history. The 1940 nickel had a total mintage of more than 259 million coins across all 3 mints. Philadelphia struck the largest number, over 176 million pieces. Denver produced around 43 million, and San Francisco approximately 39 million, though these numbers might seem large. The true value of the 1940 nickel lies in its condition, rarity of strike, and specific varieties that have survived the test of time. Collectors often seek coins in mint state condition, with strong strikes, full steps. On Monticello, an uncirculated luster. One of the most famous aspects of Jefferson nickels from this era is the full steps designation. When grading Jefferson nickels, experts look at the steps on Monticello. If all the steps are visible, sharp, and uninterrupted by marks or weak strikes, the coin can receive the coveted full steps designation, which significantly increases its value for the 1940 nickel, especially from the Denver and San Francisco mints. Full steps examples are much harder to find and can command prices in the hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on condition. Let's dive into the individual mint varieties, beginning with the 1940 Philadelphia issue. Since this mint did not use a mint mark identifying it, depends on the absence of the D or S under Monticello. These coins are generally more common, but high-grade examples remain desirable. Philadelphia coins were typically well struck, but some suffer from worn dies causing weaker details, particularly on the reverse Monticello steps. Next, the 1940 D from Denver. These coins are notable for having stronger strikes compared to Philadelphia issues, but finding one with full original luster and sharp details is a challenge. Many Denver nickels from 1940 show small die cracks and planche imperfections, making pristine examples especially valuable. A 1940 D with full steps in mint state 67 or higher can easily surpass the $1,000 mark in today's numismatic market. Then comes the 1940 S from San Francisco, a mint known for its softer strikes and lower production totals. This issue is highly sought after because of its scarcity and higher grades. The S mint mark located to the right of Monticello below the building's base can vary slightly in shape due to die changes during production, giving rise to minor varieties that collectors love to identify in terms of rarity. The 1940 S full steps nickels are among the most challenging Jeffersons to acquire and stand as key pieces in any complete Jefferson nickel collection throughout 1940. The U.S. Mint also experimented with minor adjustments in die preparation, polishing, and striking pressure in an effort to perfect the Monticello design and reduce weak strikes. These technical changes make the study of 1940 nickels especially interesting. For coin historians, as slight variations in die polishing lines or details in Jefferson's hair can reveal which mint or even which die pair produced the coin error varieties from 1940, add another layer of fascination to this coin's story. Some of the most notable include off-center strikes, die clashes where parts of the design appear doubled or ghosted on the coin planche, lamination errors where parts of the metal surface peel or bubble and double die obverses. Though not common, the existence of such errors turns a simple nickel into a prized collectible, with values that can soar far beyond face value. Error collectors in particular seek out 1940 nickels, with clear doubling on the date or the words, "Liberty and in God we trust now." We turn to the historical context that surrounds this small coin. The year 1940 was a defining moment in global history. Franklin D. Roosevelt was re-elected for an unprecedented third term as President of the United States. The world was witnessing the growing destruction of World War II, and America was standing on the brink of involvement. The U.S. Mint operated continuously throughout this period, not just to produce coins for circulation, but also to maintain public confidence in the nation's financial stability. Coins like the 1940 Jefferson nickel symbolized economic resilience, a sign that the U.S. was strong, steady, and ready to lead. Jefferson's image on the coin also served as a powerful reminder of the nation's ideals: liberty, democracy, and reason. The inclusion of Monticello was more than a design choice. It was a message of education, an enlightenment reflecting Jefferson's belief in human progress and knowledge. The coin's design became both artistic and ideological, a perfect combination that ensured its longevity in U.S. coinage history. As America entered the 1940s, the Jefferson nickel would soon see dramatic changes with the onset of wartime production. By 1942, the need for nickel in military equipment forced the U.S. Mint to change the coin's composition. But the 1940 issue stands as the last fully pre-war Jefferson nickel produced under normal conditions. It is a frozen moment in time, a bridge between peace and war, between prosperity and sacrifice. For modern collectors, the 1940 Jefferson nickel remains a rewarding coin to study and collect. While many were struck and circulated heavily, surviving examples in pristine condition are far less common. The combination of design artistry, historical relevance, and potential rarity gives the 1940 nickel lasting appeal for numismatists around the world. Whether you are looking at a brilliant uncirculated Philadelphia coin, a sharp Denver mint issue, or a scarce San Francisco full steps example, each tells its own story of American craftsmanship and perseverance. Over the decades, grading services like PCGS and NGC have certified thousands of these coins, but only a small fraction earn the top grades of MS67 or higher, which is where the true investment potential lies in auctions, record prices. For 1940, Jefferson nickels with exceptional quality continue to surprise collectors. The best of these examples showcase mirror-like surfaces, sharp detail, and full original mint luster, making them miniature masterpieces of 20th century coinage. Have you ever wondered how a single nickel minted in 1990 could hold the weight of American history in its metallic frame, a coin so common in our pockets yet so rare in the secrets it carries today? We are diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1990 Jefferson nickel, a coin that reflects the precision of American craftsmanship, the evolution of minting technology, and the silent story of a nation transitioning into a new decade. This is not just about a 5-cent piece. It is about the symbol of American endurance, of artistry, and of change in a time when the world was transforming faster than ever before. So sit back, get comfortable, and prepare yourself, because we are about to travel through time across minting floors, government, decisions, collector discoveries, and hidden varieties that have turned ordinary nickels into pieces worth hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars. This is the full story of the 1990 Jefferson nickel. The year was 1990. America was standing on the edge of the modern digital revolution. The Cold War was nearing its end. And yet in the heart of Philadelphia and Denver, the United States Mint continued its timeless mission, creating millions of Jefferson nickels that would soon circulate. In every corner of the nation, the Jefferson nickel, which began in 1938 as a tribute to Thomas Jefferson and the architectural beauty of his Monticello home, had already passed through over 5 decades of history. It had survived the war years, the silver shortages of the 1940s, the modernizations of the 1960s and 70s, and the economic challenges of the 1980s. By 1990, the coin had become a proud representation of America's consistency in design and production. Each 1990 Jefferson nickel was struck from a metal composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, a blend that gave the coin its silver-like appearance and enduring durability. The obverse continued to feature the left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, designed by Felix Schlag, the German-born sculptor who had won the Mint's design competition more than half a century earlier. Schlag's original design had gone through subtle adjustments over the decades, most notably the refinement of Jefferson's hair details and the strengthening of the legends and date to adapt to newer striking technologies. But in 1990, the overall aesthetic remained faithful to his artistic vision, with Jefferson's profile sharply defined, and the inscriptions, "Liberty and in God, we trust gracefully," curving along the rim on the reverse. Monticello stood strong as the symbol of Jefferson's architectural genius and American heritage. The word Monticello was bold and clear-centered beneath the iconic dome, with the denomination 5 cents and the national identity United States of America elegantly positioned below the mint marks for 1990. Either P for Philadelphia or D for Denver appeared discreetly to the right of Monticello, and these small letters would become the key identifiers for collectors in decades to come, as subtle differences in die strikes, minting quality, and wear patterns created an entire range of collectible conditions from average circulation to pristine jam mint state. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 620 million Jefferson nickels in 1990, while the Denver Mint produced slightly more than 500 million combined. The total mintage exceeded 1 billion, making it one of the most common issues of the decade. Yet, within this ocean of nickels lay treasures that few realized in their hands during that time. Coins with full steps on Monticello coins, struck with sharply detailed dies, and coins preserved and untouched. Mint sets would one day fetch astonishing values in the collector market. The term full steps refers to the clear visibility of the 6 steps on Monticello's base on the reverse side. This detail was notoriously difficult to achieve because even slight die wear or improper striking pressure could blur those steps. Thus, a 1990 Jefferson nickel graded with full steps by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can command high prices in auctions due to its rarity. Collectors today often search for 1990 nickels in uncirculated rolls and mint sets, hoping to find examples that show not only sharp detail, but also clean fields free of bag marks. The difference between a nickel worth 5 cents and one worth several $100s lies entirely in condition, strike, and luster. Among the most desirable are 1990D full steps nickels in grades of MS67 or higher, which have been recorded to sell for hundreds of dollars, sometimes approaching $1,000 when the surfaces display exceptional brilliance and perfect step definition. Similarly, the 1990P issue, though common in lower grades, can also achieve high premiums when exhibiting flawless strikes and original mint frost. But beyond minting and condition, the 1990 Jefferson. Nickel also reflects an era of technological advancement. The United States Mint was transitioning into more modern die production methods, introducing computer-assisted engraving systems that helped refine die design and reduce human error. This period marked one of the first stages of digitization in American coinage history, where the combination of art and technology would soon redefine how every coin was made, though still relying on traditional craftsmanship. The precision and uniformity of the 1990 nickel stood as evidence of how far the mint had come. Since Schlag's original 1938 design, as we explore deeper, we must also consider the economic and cultural backdrop of the time. The 1990s began with a nation in anticipation of new beginnings. The Berlin Wall had fallen, the Gulf War was on the horizon, and the U.S. economy was in transition from industrial power to information age dominance. Coins like the 1990 nickel were part of everyday life, yet they also served as constant reminders of stability in a world changing rapidly around them, and while the average citizen used them without a thought. The numismatists of the era began to realize that these modern nickels could one day become future classics, especially when preserved in high grade. The proof version struck at the San Francisco Mint added another layer of beauty to the 1990 Jefferson nickel story. These coins were produced specifically for collectors using polished dies and planchets to create mirror-like surfaces and frosted designs known as cameo or deep cameo proofs. Each proof coin displayed a level of artistry unmatched by regular strikes, with Jefferson's portrait gleaming against a mirror field and Monticello reflecting light like glass. These proofs were issued in limited quantities within annual proof sets and remain some of the most stunning examples of the design today. High-grade proofs graded PR70 Deep Cameo are among the most desirable for serious collectors, commanding strong prices due to their near perfection. Now, as we move through this timeline of the Jefferson nickel series, it becomes clear that each year tells a story of its own, and 1990 serves as a bridge between two important eras, the pre-modern minting age and the fully digital die engraving era that would soon transform U.S. coinage forever. It was the last period when traditional craftsmanship and modern precision balanced perfectly, resulting in coins that still carried the human touch in their design while benefiting from the accuracy of emerging technology. Every curve of Jefferson's face, every shadow on Monticello, and every glint of metal tells the story of that balance between art and science. As we reach the deeper layers of the 1990 Jefferson nickel's legacy, we encounter collector fascination with varieties and errors, though no major die varieties were officially documented. Some examples exist of slight die cracks, repunched mint marks, and minor doubling around the lettering. These are small but exciting features that can significantly increase a coin's desirability, especially when authenticated by professionals. Collectors value these anomalies because they reflect the human element in minting, the imperfections that remind us. Even in mass production, each coin can have its own unique fingerprint. When you hold a 1990 Jefferson nickel in your hand, you hold more than metal. You hold the spirit of a nation's endurance, the quiet craftsmanship of its mints, and the living memory of the people who used it through decades of commerce. It is the coin that carried America from one century toward another, and its simplicity is its strength to the casual observer. It is just a nickel, but to the trained eye, it is a masterpiece of history, design, and resilience. All right, imagine this. You are holding in your hand a small piece of American history, a simple 5-cent coin that carries within it decades of craftsmanship, design, evolution, minting technology, and the story of a nation itself. Today, we dive deep into the world of the 1983 Jefferson nickel, a coin that at first glance looks ordinary, but hides within it a fascinating tale of change, struggle, precision, and national identity. Welcome to our channel, where we bring the hidden stories of coins to life, and in this video we will take you on a 2-hour journey through the making, the meaning, and the legacy of the 1983 Jefferson nickel, a coin that represents more than just 5 cents. It represents a chapter in the American story, a reflection of the economic challenges of the early 1980s and the lasting influence of Thomas Jefferson himself. The design of the Jefferson nickel had remained relatively unchanged since 1938. But by 1983, America was in a very different place. The United States Mint had seen massive technological upgrades, metal shortages, inflation, and a changing numismatic landscape. Collectors were watching closely as mint marks' designs and striking quality varied dramatically from year to year, and the 1983 issue stood at a crossroads between the traditional craftsmanship of earlier decades and the machine precision of modern minting. In this story, we begin with the legacy of the Jefferson nickel itself, born in 1938 to honor the third president of the United States and designed by Felix Schlag, whose artistic vision captured Monticello with remarkable balance. But as we fast forward to 1983, the world of coinage had changed dramatically. The United States Mint operated facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, each with their unique striking patterns, and in 1983 both Philadelphia and Denver produced millions of these nickels. Yet despite their abundance, not all nickels were created. The early 1980s brought serious issues in coin quality. The United States was recovering from a deep recession. The mint was under pressure to produce vast quantities of coins for circulation, and die maintenance often took a back seat, resulting in a variety of weak strikes-filled steps and planche flaws that would later drive collectors wild. The 1983 nickel from the Philadelphia Mint carried no mint mark, as had been tradition before 1980. While the Denver issue proudly bore its D mint mark, each mint faced its own challenges in production. Philadelphia nickels often displayed slightly weaker details on Jefferson's hair and Monticello's steps, while Denver's coins showed sharper strikes but more die deterioration. As the year progressed, the materials used for the 1983 Jefferson nickel remained the standard composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, a metal blend chosen for durability and resistance to corrosion. But by the 1980s, even these metals came at a cost. The mint faced fluctuating metal prices and debates within Congress about potential changes in coin composition, similar to the penny shift in 1982. Collectors and historians note that 1983 was a year when minting consistency was being redefined. Quality control was improving, but not yet perfected, leading to fascinating minting errors and varieties that today make this year especially interesting for numismatists. Some of the most remarkable 1983 Jefferson nickels include those with full steps on the reverse side, an attribute highly prized by collectors because it indicates a perfectly struck die full step. Nickels show every line of the Monticello staircase crisp and clean, something that rarely happened under the heavy minting pressure of the 1980s. These full step examples, especially from the Denver Mint, are among the most valuable and sought-after specimens. Another intriguing aspect of the 1983 issue is the presence of minor die cracks, planche lamination, and off-center strikes, which were fairly common. Due to rapid die wear, the minting machinery of the era was operating at near continuous speed to meet demand, and maintenance was often postponed. These small imperfections have become the beauty marks of the 1983 nickel, each one telling its own miniature story within a coin already steeped in national history. As we explore deeper into this year, we find the socio-economic background equally fascinating. The early 1980s marked a time of recovery from the inflationary pressures of the 1970s. Unemployment was high, the auto industry was struggling, and yet coins remained one of the few stable symbols of American continuity. Millions of Americans carried these 1983 nickels in their pockets, unaware that decades later collectors would view them as time capsules representing the craftsmanship struggles and subtle errors of a changing minting era. The 1983 proof nickels struck at the San Francisco Mint, however, stood apart. These proofs were minted with a mirror finish and sharp frosted reliefs. They were not made for circulation, but for collectors. Proof coins of 1983 show the Jefferson portrait in stunning clarity, with each strand of hair and each detail of Monticello gleaming under precise controlled striking. These proofs remain a testament to what the mint could achieve when precision was the goal, rather than speed for collectors today. Grading plays a major role in determining the value of 1983. Nickels coins graded by professional services like PCGs or NGC that show full steps can reach high premiums, especially in mint state 66 and above. Condition coins that appear flawless under magnification are extremely rare. Considering how many were struck under less than ideal circumstances, the story of the 1983 Jefferson nickel does not end at its minting. It is a reflection of the endurance of a design that has outlived presidents' wars and economic crises. Thomas Jefferson's profile still stands as a quiet reminder of the nation's democratic ideals and architectural beauty through Monticello. And as technology advanced through the 1980s, this coin became a bridge between hand-engraved dies and computer-assisted minting design, setting the stage for the modernized coinage. We know today the 1983 Jefferson nickel is more than metal. It is history captured in copper and nickel, a symbol of a nation redefining itself through change and resilience. When you hold one in your hand, you are touching a story that began in the mind of a sculptor in 1938 and continued through the hands of mint workers in 1983, a story that connects art economy and heritage in a single circular masterpiece. This coin might not shine like gold or silver, but it gleams with the quiet dignity of American history. Its value goes far. Beyond 5 cents, it is a testament to design, perseverance, and national identity. So as we explore each mint mark, each error, each glimmer of metal from this remarkable year, we are not just studying coins. We are uncovering history itself. Every scratch, every die mark, every imperfection is a signature of its time. The 1983 Jefferson nickel stands as a witness to change, a symbol of tradition and a treasure for those who seek to understand the deeper meaning behind everyday objects. And that is what makes it one of the most fascinating coins ever to roll out of the United States Mint. Have you ever held a coin that seemed ordinary at first glance, but beneath its dull nickel surface hid decades of untold history, political change, minting innovation, and the pulse of an entire era captured in metal? Today we journey deep into the story of the 1974 Jefferson nickel, a coin that carries the legacy of an American icon and the mark of a nation on the edge of economic and cultural transformation. This is not just a nickel, it's a time capsule from 1974, an emblem of American craftsmanship, a witness to inflation, the oil crisis, and the shifting identity of U.S. coinage. So before you dismiss it as just another 5-cent piece, look closer, because the 1974 Jefferson nickel has a story that will change the way you see every coin in your hand. The year was 1974. The United States was emerging from a turbulent decade. The Vietnam War was winding down, and the nation was feeling the ripple effects of the Watergate scandal. Consumer confidence was shaken, and inflation was eating into every dollar Americans were spending. Yet amid this atmosphere of uncertainty, the U.S. Mint continued one of its longest-running traditions, the striking of the Jefferson nickel since its introduction in 1938. The Jefferson nickel had become a quiet but powerful symbol of American endurance, featuring the face of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States. And on the reverse, his home Monticello, designed by Felix Schlag, who had won the original design competition. The Jefferson nickel represented more than currency. It represented American ideals, balance, architecture, intelligence, and strength. By 1974, the Jefferson nickel had already seen over 3 decades of circulation changes during the war years. In the 1940s, the composition had shifted to include silver due to wartime metal shortages. But by the mid-1970s, it had returned to its standard alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it that familiar metallic sheen and durability that collectors and everyday citizens alike could recognize instantly the mint produced. These coins primarily in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, though 1974 saw no silver proofs. It was still a remarkable year for minting precision and volume. The 1974 Jefferson nickel from the Philadelphia Mint carried no mint mark, while the Denver mint pieces bore the letter D, neatly placed on the reverse beside Monticello, and the San Francisco Mint produced proof strikes marked with an S. The Philadelphia Mint was responsible for over 670 million nickels that year, while Denver struck around 370 million, and San Francisco produced more than 2 million proofs. Each of these coins tells its own story. Each was struck on planches that had undergone years of refinement as the U.S. Mint aimed for consistency, weight, precision, and durability. The coin's diameter remained 21.2 millimeters with a weight of 5 grams and a smooth edge. But what truly set the 1974 Jefferson nickel apart was not the physical characteristics. It was the story of its time and the evolution of numismatics during that era. The mint was experimenting with new technologies as inflation and metal prices began to threaten the very cost of minting coins. New alloys were being tested behind the scenes, and discussions about redesigns were quietly happening as part of a long-term modernization plan. The public, however, was largely unaware for them. The nickel remained a steady, everyday coin used for candy machines, parking meters, and daily commerce, but for collectors, 1974 marked a fascinating balance between the traditional craftsmanship of mid-century minting and the future of precision die work that was about to unfold. When examining a 1974 Jefferson nickel, the details are where the story truly lives. Jefferson's portrait is bold, refined, yet slightly modernized. The hair curls and cheek details were sharp when struck from fresh dies, but could quickly fade under circulation. The reverse Monticello shows the neoclassical symmetry of Jefferson's home, a lasting symbol of Enlightenment-era architecture. By 1974, minting quality had improved significantly from earlier decades. Yet die wear and striking pressure often led to varying levels of detail across the mints. Collectors often note differences in steps on Monticello, with the full steps variety being one of the most sought-after features. This term, full steps, refers to the clear, complete visibility of all 6 steps on Monticello's front staircase, a detail that requires a near-perfect strike. Only a small percentage of 1974 nickels possess this level of sharpness, making them rare and valuable in high-grade conditions. The story deepens when you consider the human element behind the coin. The engravers, die polishers, and mint workers who spent hours ensuring precision. These were skilled hands operating massive presses that struck hundreds of coins per minute. Each die would eventually wear out, developing cracks or distortions, leading to the creation of die varieties and errors that today make certain 1974 nickels worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Notable among these are die clashes, double dies, and off-center strikes, errors that turn ordinary circulation coins into prized numismatic treasures. One of the fascinating aspects of the 1974 Jefferson nickel is how it reflected the economic realities of its time. The oil embargo of 1973 had triggered an energy crisis that shook the global economy. By 1974, inflation was surging, the dollar's purchasing power was falling, and yet the nickel remained unchanged, its cost to produce rising close to its face value. Still, the government continued to mint it as a symbol of consistency and faith in the nation's economic structure. The mint's decision to maintain the traditional copper-nickel composition demonstrated both tradition and defiance in the face of inflationary pressure. As we journey deeper into the context of 1974, we see how coin collecting was evolving across America. It was a period of renewed interest in numismatics driven by rising silver prices from the previous decade. Collectors were not only chasing silver coins, but were also beginning to appreciate the artistry and condition, rarity of modern coinage. This was the foundation of what we now call modern-era numismatics, where even circulation coins from the 1970s could achieve premium value based on strike-quality luster and preservation. Professional grading was still in its early stages, but coin enthusiasts were developing systems of categorizing condition mint state grades ranging from MS-60 to MS-70 began to appear in collector literature by the late 1970s, and coins like the 1974 Jefferson nickel became case studies in understanding how mint quality and storage affected long-term value. Today, examples graded MS-67 or higher are exceedingly rare, commanding strong prices, especially for those with full steps. Details beyond grading. The 1974 nickel connects us with the broader story of American design. Felix Schlag's original vision from 1938 had aged gracefully. The portrait of Jefferson retained dignity and familiarity, yet the world around it had changed dramatically in just over 3 decades. The nation had entered the space age, had seen cultural revolutions, and was now adapting to new technologies in both industry and minting. It is this juxtaposition of timeless design and evolving context that makes the 1974 Jefferson nickel such an intriguing subject for collectors and historians alike. Looking at the Mint's annual reports, we can see the effort invested in maintaining coin production standards under increasing economic pressure. Technological improvements, such as automated die polishing and improved planche preparation, helped achieve better strikes and reduce production flaws. But perfection was still elusive, which is why high-grade examples are so coveted today. Even among billions struck, each perfect specimen stands as a rare survivor of chance, precision, and preservation. As the years went on, these coins circulated through millions of hands. They passed through the pockets of factory workers, students, travelers, and veterans. They sat in drawers and piggy, banks and cash registers each bearing silent witness to America's journey through inflation, recession, recovery, and innovation today. When collectors find a well-preserved 1974 Jefferson nickel, they are holding a small piece of that story, not just metal, but memory frozen in time. In numismatic circles, the 1974 Jefferson nickel remains an underappreciated gem, not because it is extraordinarily rare, but because it embodies a moment in history when America was redefining itself. The mint was quietly transitioning to modern methods, the economy was shifting, the culture was evolving. And through it all, the Jefferson nickel stayed steady, an anchor of familiarity in a changing world. That is what makes this coin truly special. It is both ordinary and extraordinary, timeless yet modern, simple yet endlessly rich in meaning.